Right now, at this very moment, there's someone out there working harder than you. There's someone who started with less, who had it worse, who faced more obstacles, and they're still outworking you. They don't care about your excuses. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care that you're tired. And guess what? Neither should you. Because this journey you're on, this path you've chosen, or maybe the path that chose you, it's not meant to be easy. It was never supposed to be easy. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. If it was easy, everybody would be successful. If it was easy, everybody would be living their dreams. But they're not. And you know why? Because when things get hard, when the world turns against them, when everybody starts doubting them, they quit. They fold. They go back to being average. But not you. Not anymore. You need to understand something right now. This is you versus everyone. It's you versus the world. It's you versus your family who doesn't understand your vision. It's you versus your friends who want you to stay the same. It's you versus society that wants you to fit in their little box. It's you versus every single person who told you that you can't do it. But most importantly, it's you versus you. It's you versus that voice in your head that tells you to quit. It's you versus your comfort zone. It's you versus your excuses. It's you versus the person you were yesterday. Nobody is coming to save you. Let me repeat that so it really sinks in. Nobody is coming to save you. Your parents aren't going to do it for you. Your friends aren't going to push you. That motivational video you watched yesterday isn't going to change your life. You have to do it yourself. You have to be the one who gets up when you don't feel like it. You have to be the one who does the work when nobody's watching. You have to be the one who keeps going when everybody else would quit. And they will all watch you struggle. They'll watch you fail. They'll watch you get knocked down over and over again. Some of them will laugh. Some of them will say they told you so. Some of them will try to convince you to give up, to be realistic, to stop dreaming so big. They'll tell you that you're being delusional. They'll tell you that you're obsessed. They'll tell you that you're missing out on life. But what they don't understand is that you're not missing out on life. You're creating it. You're building something. You're becoming something. And that scares them. Your dedication scares them. Your discipline scares them. Your refusal to quit scares them. Because every time they see you working, every time they see you grinding, every time they see you getting back up after getting knocked down, it reminds them of what they could have been if they hadn't given up on themselves. People want you to be average because when you're average, you're not a threat. When you're average, you don't make them uncomfortable. When you're average, you don't force them to look at their own wasted potential. So they'll do everything they can to keep you down there with them. They'll invite you out when they know you should be working. They'll make fun of you for being too serious. They'll tell you to relax, to take it easy, to enjoy life. But what they call enjoying life is really just existing. It's going through the motions. It's living for the weekend. It's settling for less than what you're capable of. You're going to lose friends on this journey. Accept it now. The moment you start leveling up, the moment you start taking your life seriously, the moment you start saying no to the parties and yes to the work, you're going to watch people fall away from your life. And it's going to hurt. It's going to be lonely. There will be nights when you're working alone while everybody else is out having fun. There will be mornings when you're up before the sun while everybody else is sleeping. There will be moments when you question whether it's worth it, when you wonder if maybe they're right. Maybe you are taking it too seriously. Maybe you are missing out. But then you remember why you started. You remember what it felt like to be average. You remember what it felt like to have dreams that you weren't pursuing. You remember what it felt like to go to bed every night knowing you didn't give it your all. And suddenly, the loneliness doesn't feel so bad. The sacrifice doesn't feel so heavy. because you know that every moment of discomfort is moving you closer to who you're meant to be. The truth is, most people are terrified of their own potential. They're terrified of what they could become if they actually tried, so they don't try. They make excuses, they point fingers, they blame circumstances, they blame their parents, they blame the economy, they blame everything and everyone except the person in the mirror. But you're different. You've decided to take responsibility. You've decided that your life is your fault. Your success is your responsibility. Your failure is your responsibility. Your happiness is your responsibility. Nobody else's. Just yours. And when you accept that level of responsibility, when you stop looking for someone else to blame, when you stop waiting for someone else to fix your problems, that's when everything changes. That's when you become dangerous. That's when you become unstoppable. Because a person who takes full responsibility for their life is a person who can change their life. A person who makes excuses will always be a slave to their circumstances. But a person who takes responsibility becomes the master of their destiny. You're going to fail. You're going to fail more times than you can count. You're going to fail publicly. You're going to fail privately. You're going to fail when you thought you had it figured out. You're going to fail when everybody's watching. And every single failure is going to be ammunition for the doubters. Every single failure is going to be proof to them that they were right, that you should have been realistic, that you should have played it safe. But what they don't understand is that failure is just information. Failure is just feedback. Failure is just life telling you to adjust your approach. Every failure is making you stronger. Every failure is teaching you something. Every failure is preparing you for success. The difference between you and everybody else is not that you don't fail. The difference is that when you fail, you get back up. When you fail, you learn the lesson. When you fail, you come back stronger. Most people fail once and quit. They fail once and use it as an excuse for the rest of their lives. They fail once and let it define them, but not you. You fail and you keep going. You fail and you try again. You fail and you adjust. You fail and you improve. You fail until you succeed. Nobody understands your vision because it's not meant for them to understand. It's your vision. It's your dream. It's your purpose. Stop trying to explain it to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Stop trying to convince people who don't want to be convinced. Stop seeking approval from people who will never give it to you. Your vision doesn't need their validation. Your dreams don't need their permission. Your goals don't need their approval. The only approval you need is from the person in the mirror. And that person in the mirror, they know the truth. They know what you're capable of. They know what you've been through. They know what you've overcome. They know the battles you've fought that nobody else knows about. They know the demons you've faced in silence. They know the nights you wanted to quit but didn't. They know the mornings you didn't want to get up but did. They know the sacrifices you've made that nobody else will ever see. That person in the mirror is the only person who truly knows your story. So why are you letting people who don't know your story write your ending? Every single day is a battle. Every single day you wake up, you have a choice. You can choose comfort or you can choose growth. You can choose excuses or you can choose execution. You can choose to be a victim or you can choose to be a victor. And every single day, most people choose comfort. Most people choose excuses. Most people choose to be victims. That's why most people are average. That's why most people are unhappy. That's why most people die with regret. But you're not most people. You've decided to fight. You've decided to choose the hard path. You've decided to do what others won't do, so you can have what others won't have. You've decided that temporary discomfort is worth permanent improvement. You've decided that short-term sacrifice is worth long-term success. You've decided that being misunderstood today is worth being remembered tomorrow. The world wants to put you in a box. It wants to label you. It wants to define you. It wants to limit you. It wants you to color inside the lines. It wants you to follow the rules. It wants you to take the safe path. It wants you to be predictable. It wants you to be controllable. But you weren't born to fit in a box. You weren't born to be labeled. You weren't born to be limited. You were born to break boundaries. You were born to exceed expectations. You were born to do impossible things. When you start moving different, when you start thinking different, when you start acting different, people will try to pull you back. They'll try to remind you of who you used to be. They'll try to hold your past against you. They'll try to use your failures to define you. They'll say things like, "You've changed," like it's a bad thing. But change is exactly what you're after. Change is the whole point. Of course you've changed. You're not trying to be the same person you were yesterday. You're trying to be better. You're trying to evolve. You're trying to grow. And growth requires change. Some people will call you selfish for focusing on yourself. They'll say you're self-absorbed. They'll say you only care about yourself. But taking care of yourself is not selfish. Building yourself is not selfish. Improving yourself is not selfish. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't help others if you can't help yourself. You can't lead others to success if you haven't found it yourself. The best thing you can do for the people around you is to become the best version of yourself. You're going to have to do things that nobody else understands. You're going to have to make sacrifices that nobody else appreciates. You're going to have to endure pain that nobody else sees. You're going to have to fight battles that nobody else knows about. And you're going to have to do it all without recognition, without applause, without support. You're going to have to be your own cheerleader. You're going to have to be your own coach. You're going to have to be your own motivation. The journey is lonely, but it's supposed to be lonely. It's lonely because not everybody is willing to do what you're doing. It's lonely because not everybody has your vision. It's lonely because not everybody has your drive. It's lonely because you're doing something exceptional, and exceptional people are rare. If the path was crowded, it wouldn't lead anywhere special. If everybody was doing it, it wouldn't be worth doing. The fact that you're alone on this path is proof that you're going somewhere different. You're going somewhere better. You're going somewhere most people will never reach. Stop looking for shortcuts. There are no shortcuts. Stop looking for hacks. There are no hacks. Stop looking for the easy way. There is no easy way. The only way is through the pain, through the struggle, through the doubt, through the fear, through the failure, through the loneliness, through the criticism, through the rejection, through all of it. That's the only way to get to where you want to be. Every excuse you make is a brick in the wall between you and your dreams. Every time you hit the snooze button, you're choosing to stay where you are. Every time you skip the workout, you're choosing weakness over strength. Every time you procrastinate, you're choosing fear over action. Every time you quit, you're choosing comfort over growth. And all these choices, all these small decisions, they add up, they compound, they create your reality, they determine your destiny. You have to become obsessed, not kind of interested, not motivated sometimes. Obsessed, obsessed with your growth, obsessed with your goals, obsessed with becoming better, obsessed to the point where people think you're crazy, obsessed to the point where people don't recognize you anymore, obsessed to the point where your old self wouldn't understand your new self. Because obsession is what separates the good from the great. Obsession is what separates the dreamers from the doers. Obsession is what separates the winners from the losers. People will tell you to have balance. They'll tell you to slow down. They'll tell you to enjoy the journey. But what they don't understand is that for people like you, people with massive dreams, people with huge ambitions, balance is not the goal. Excellence is the goal. Greatness is the goal. And greatness requires imbalance. It requires sacrifice. It requires giving more than what's reasonable. It requires doing more than what's expected. It requires being more than what's normal. You're fighting a war on multiple fronts. You're fighting against external obstacles. You're fighting against internal demons. You're fighting against time. You're fighting against doubt. You're fighting against fear. You're fighting against comfort. You're fighting against mediocrity. And you're fighting this war alone. Nobody else can fight it for you. Nobody else can win it for you. This is your war. And you have to be willing to do whatever it takes to win it. The pain you're feeling right now, the struggle you're going through right now, the challenges you're facing right now, they're not punishments, they're preparation. They're preparing you for what's coming. They're preparing you for success. They're preparing you for the next level. They're preparing you to handle the responsibility that comes with achieving your dreams. Because the universe doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you can handle. And right now, it's testing you to see how much you can handle. Every single day, you have to make a choice. You have to choose between what you want now and what you want most. You have to choose between immediate gratification and long-term satisfaction. You have to choose between fitting in and standing out. You have to choose between being liked and being respected. You have to choose between being comfortable and being successful. And every single day, most people make the wrong choice. That's why most people don't get what they want. That's why most people live with regret. That's why most people die with their dreams still inside them. But you're not going to be most people. You're going to be the exception. You're going to be the one who made it despite the odds. You're going to be the one who proved them all wrong. You're going to be the one who turned their pain into power. You're going to be the one who turned their struggles into strength. You're going to be the one who turned their failures into fuel. You're going to be the one who refused to quit when quitting made sense. You're going to be the one who kept going when stopping was logical. You're going to be the one who believed when nobody else did. This is your time. This is your moment. This is your opportunity. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Not next year. Right now. This moment. This breath. This heartbeat. This is where it starts. This is where you decide to stop being who you were and start becoming who you're meant to be. This is where you decide that enough is enough. This is where you decide that you're done with excuses. This is where you decide that you're done with mediocrity. This is where you decide that you're done letting other people write your story. It won't be easy. Nothing worth having ever island you versus everyone. That's the reality. But here's the secret that nobody tells you. When you commit to this path, when you truly commit, when you burn the boats and give yourself no option but to succeed, something magical happens. You discover strength you didn't know you had. You discover courage you didn't know existed. You discover a version of yourself that you didn't know was possible. And suddenly, you versus everyone doesn't seem so bad, because you finally realize that you are enough. You always were. You just had to be willing to prove it to yourself.